837-132.
Well, hello, Eva, Jane, Ciamar,
Agama.
Nagama, Leva, Hamitolocha. I'm happy to hear that. All right, well, okay. Well, we've got a couple of minutes before we start, but anyway.
I got one question.
Yeah.
I sometimes, and I don't know if it's my hearing, I can't differentiate it if something is with a V or with an M, like Slancheva. It's kind of, for me, it's hard to hear that sometimes, the difference. How can I distinctive this?
Okay, well, I can't say, I mean, if it's a hearing issue, but but can you give me that example again?
Like Slancheva?
Oh, Slancheva.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The MH signifies a V sound.
Okay. And if it's just the M, then it's an
M sound.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I always
Okay.
thought I hear it wrong, but
Yeah.
I just
Well,
want to clarify this.
Yeah, like the word is ma, okay, with an M, but it's lenited, so it's a V sound, va, Slancheva.
Then I do hear it right. I always thought I confuse it. So, okay.
Okay, okay.
That's
That
why I
might,
was asking if it's like,
yeah,
if it could be in the writing, like how to pronounce it, because sometimes I'm not 100% sure.
yeah. And your hearing of it might be due to your expectations because you're seeing the M and you expect an M sound. Okay, so yeah, so it's slancheva. Okay, okay. Like sometimes I will say bleva. Yeah, so that's ma, but it's lenited, so it's a V sound.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, even when I was doing Duolingo, I'm like, am I hearing this right? And I kept on pushing on it over and over again.
Uh-huh.
But I did hear it right. So
Uh-huh. Hello, Matthew. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. There's Tracy. Hello, Tracy. Okay. 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 All right.
Can you see us, Matthew?
No, I can't see anything.
Well, we can see you right now and hear you. See you now. Can you see us?
No, it's not displaying the meeting. It's still showing me the a starting place of Zoom, the main menu.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe is there a enable camera icon or something like that?
And that I see.
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
I,
I'm gonna
I
try.
had to
I'm gonna try rejoining.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I had to click on audio and then I had to click on the video to get both.
Right, yeah, yeah. And then sometimes those that little window hides behind the larger window. So anyway. So
All right, I can see you now.
okay, very good. Okay. Gleva. Okay, so did you hear that, Eva? Gleva.
Well, with a V.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's an M, it starts with an M, but it's an M8, so it's a lenited.
I didn't know that, so I always thought I was mishearing it. So, but
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that makes it clear.
Well, part of that might be expectations. I mean, like we hear what we expect to hear. And like you said, I mean, oh, what is it I'm hearing? I don't understand this, so anyway, but uh, and I think that as you become more familiar with the patterns, it'll become clearer. And here's Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, I got my camera to work this time.
Very good, very good. Leva. Okay. Okay. Leva. Okay. Okay, so we'll wait another minute or so, see if anybody else shows up. Does anybody have any questions before we get started?
Well, when I opened it, caibideal dos, I mean two, I sorry about that. I speak Spanish more than I speak any other language, but I couldn't get it to print right. So I think it's the program and that my computer has switched to. So I'll keep trying. For some reason, I couldn't get it to put it on the whole page. It's because I picked it up out of the Dropbox, and then I put it into a PDF and I was trying to edit it and it didn't work. So, but I did get part of it copies. Oops, you can't really see it.
No,
So
I
don't
can't
worry
see
about
it.
it. So I don't have a lesson plan. I'm just going along with what you're saying.
Okay, okay, well, I'll show it.
I'll figure it out during the week.
Okay, all right. Is it printing half pages or is it printing landscape or what does it do?
Well, no, I was printing portrait, but it would cut off the right edge of the the page. And it's like I said, it's coming out of the Dropbox. Oh, I think where it came from was my other email. One of my other emails, because I have
Okay.
three that I use specifically for different things. So
All right. Okay. Well, I will. Yeah, I will. I will upload a Word doc as well.
oh, good. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, yeah, and then
You
maybe
better-
that'll work for you. Okay.
For me, the PDF worked much better because
Oh,
I don't have Word, so I had a hard time with the PDF. I could
oh, I
open
see.
it right away.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll upload both. Because I make it in Word, but excuse me, I put it together as a PDF because I could put everything together. If I do it in Word, the parts are separate. I have to upload different parts. So anyway,
Just,
okay.
just do what's easy for you. That's fine. I'll figure it out. You know,
Okay.
because I always copy the lesson, the
Yeah.
parts that I want. I won't copy every single page,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, whatever works for you. I'll
All
figure
right.
it out.
Okay. And then let me okay, so I've got share on here. Let me I want to okay, so you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so under year one, all right, so and I'll send out these links now. What I've done, so you see under chapter 1, I'll have a YouTube video link. Okay, so in the Dropbox, you'll see it's a text document, and you can just copy the either open up like this, and then you can just copy the link and get the YouTube, see, class recording.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem with that last week.
Okay, very good.
Nothing
Okay.
going on right now.
Anyway, all right. So I will do that each week, and it'll be, where are we now? Okay, right here. Okay. And it'll be under the week. Okay, so it'll be a YouTube video link. So like today, once the class is done and the processing is finished, I don't know how to do this now anyway. So you'll see okay, I'll upload a text document with the video link in it. And so then you can open that up and get the video link of the class. And I've already had somebody text me today. She's not going to be able to be here, and she asked about the video link. So anyway, so so if you miss a class or you want to come back and review some of the stuff, we'll have the video link, okay? Because the class is being recorded. And as I said, I am I'm not doing a lot of processing on the on the recording of the class. Not doing a lot of fancy editing. It's just kind of raw, but but yeah, but you get it. All right, Gleva.
Help a lot.
Okay. Anyway, so let's go back to stop the share for just a moment. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions or before we get started? Anything going on? Pat, did your hand go up?
Yes, it did. I just want to make sure that I'm with it and that this particular one is where it's cattle 1 and 2. So
Topical.
yeah, so this is
Okay. Year
this is
one,
used for
lesson
1.
2. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
did we-
capital. That's chapter.
chapter.
Year 1,
Uh-huh.
lesson 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what the
And so the discussion was that people did people get the year 1 lesson 1?
yeah. Well, that went out last week.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
then and then I sent out the link for the chapters. And so you should be able to retrieve both the chapter. And if I make any updates to the chapter, I will re-upload the chapter, revised chapter, to the
Okay.
section. and as well the link for the recording of the class. Okay.
Okay,
All
got it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Sé dovea. Okay, any other questions? Issues? All right. Okay, well, let's share. Okay. All right, so now I just said a little something, and so everything is a part of a learning process. So, so I'll just share a couple things that I said. All right, so you can see my blank screen, right? My whiteboard.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So one, top a lot equals thank you. Okay. And it literally means something like thanks with you. Okay. The lot, and we'll get into this later, but Gaelic does not separate what's called the preposition with the from the pronoun. So, for instance, in English, we would say with you. In Gaelic, it would be one word, lot or let. Okay, depending on how you pronounce it. Okay, so anyway, but tapalat means thank you. So when I say tapalat, that means thank you. And then I said something else as well. I said she dovea. It means you're welcome. Okay, but it doesn't literally mean you're welcome. So one of the things that I'll say here, and one of the things that I'll continue to say is, and this holds true for any language, you don't get a one-to-one correspondence of, the word in one language with the word in the other, or an expression in one language with the expression in another. So sometimes the translation we get is an approximation, and sometimes that approximation has to cross cultural barriers. Words mean different things. You don't get, and sometimes the meaning of a word, like once you start learning more, you'll look a word up in the dictionary, and you'll see that a Gaelic word might have 3 corresponding meanings in English, and they're different. In English, we might have 3 different words, and in Gaelic, they overlap. They're not one-to-one. Okay, they overlap. It's like a Venn diagram. So sometimes it means this, and sometimes it means that. So anyway, but anyway, literally, this means either it is your life, okay, or he, as in God, is your life, depending on how you translate it. And a lot of the expressions in Gaelic come out of a very religious period in which the expressions relate back to some sort of reference to a religious observance. Okay, so anyway, so sé dovea. It's a way of saying you're welcome, but you see, it doesn't literally mean you're welcome. Okay, but it means that. Okay, anyway, all right, okay, all righty. So let's open up the trying to open up the chapter for tonight. All right, here we go. All right, okay. So here's the the piper of the week. Yeah. Okay. And pay the piper, invitation, the invite link. And as we know, and we figured out now, that's a permanent link. So and that'll do us through the end of the year. Zoom allows me to create a Zoom room, a conference room that lasts about 12 months. And so I do it until the end of the year, and I expect to just keep on renewing it. So anyway, so that'll be the same. Okay, so this week, Clàr na Seachdaine, okay, schedule of the week. Fàilte, we'll have a welcome. And then we'll have a Seanfhacal na Seachdaine, proverb of the week. Gràmar na Seachdaine, I'll talk a little bit about a verb first construction. And then we'll learn how to ask somebody how they are, and how to tell them how you are. And we'll learn some vocabulary. And then Sgeulachd na Seachdaine, the story of the week of Mhaighdinn Mara. Okay, the Selkie girl. Okay. And then Òran na Seachdaine will come back to Ciamar. Okay. All right. That's what we're going to be doing. All right. Okay. So I'm going to shrink this a little bit. Seanfhacal na Seachdaine is cor dogunya dive of the echa reduich na harakan echa. Okay. A person ought to have attachment to the land of his ancestors. Okay, so try to say that along with me. And I'll say it real slow and one word at a time or two words at a time. So first it goes, is cor.
Is core.
Score.
Dogunya.
Dogunya.
Dive of the echa.
Dive
Of the
of the eka.
Echa. Okay. Reduich
Reduich
na harakan echa.
Naharikan eka.
Is right for a person, a connection to have to the land of his ancestors. Okay, so anyway, and then you can read this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will remark on one word here, and that's duich. And again, this relates to what I was just talking about sometimes there isn't an exact word, not an exact correspondence between words in one language and words in another, and duich is such a word. Duich refers to land. It could be like territory, but it's more than that. It's land, it's homeland, it's also culture and heritage. Okay, it's also the customs and practices and the memories. Okay, so it's a very complicated word, and there isn't a word like that in English. Okay, because it refers to all of these things. Okay, the duich. Okay, and it's related to a word like duachas, which means heritage. Okay, but duich embodies all of that. Okay, so when we say a person ought to have attachment to the land of his ancestors, that's to the land, to the heritage, to the customs, to the memories, to the history, to the literature, to the folklore of his ancestors. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Any questions about that? Duich. Okay. All right. Okay. Gleba. And then come back to this and read this, this little essay. And I'll just remark, I had a tutor a few years ago, Donald McDonald, Dole Donnelly. So one thing to remember is when we try to use a new Gaelic word, be aware that sometimes the translation that you get from the dictionary is not as you would use it in English. Okay, so Donald would often remind me when I was first learning, he'd get what I was trying to say, but he'd say, well, we don't really use the word like that. So even though the dictionary said, it means this, it only means that in certain instances and not in all cases. Okay, so no, it's just something to remember. Okay, all right, okay. Gràmar na Seachdaine. Okay, so And so we're going to get into how to ask somebody how they are. But first things first, we have to understand that, excuse me, Gaelic is a verb first language. That is, when we construct a sentence, the verb comes first. So in English, we would say, I am well, for instance, and this pertains to, the question and response that we're going to have today. But in Gaelic, we'd say, ha mi guma, which literally is, am I well? Okay. Don't get confused. This is not a question, even though it sounds like a question in English. It is a statement. But in Gaelic sentence, the verb comes first. And this is almost all the time. You'll see a few very rare constructions in which it doesn't occur. But almost all the time, and it's the rule. Okay. So we say, ha mi guma. Am I well, or I am well. Okay. So, and what we're going to do when we start, we're going to start with the verb to be, the present tense of the verb to be. Okay. And with that, we have to remember that Gaelic does not decline or does not inflect. It doesn't change. And so in English, we would say, I am, you are, he, she, or it is, right? In Gaelic, we don't do that. Ha mi, ha u, you are. Ha mi, I am. Ha u, you are. Ha e, she is. See, so the verb remains the same. So in some ways, Gaelic gets pretty complicated, but in this, she does us a favor. Okay. And we don't have any kind of verb change and this is called the person. The person, the first person, you is second person, she is third person, and so on and so forth. Singular and plural. Gaelic doesn't change. Okay. And we will get into the past and the future. Okay. Right now, we're just going to do the present tense of the verb to be. Right. Okay. All right. So that said, we're going to see a little bit of Gaelic in use. And when we finish this today, you'll have a little lesson in how to ask somebody how they are, how to respond, how to tell them how you are with a few select words of vocabulary. Okay. And so to start off, Mhaighdinn Mara meets her best friend Torment McEver on the Uig Harris Ferry. All right, so I'm going to enlarge this. All right, so Uig is right here on the Isle of Skye. This is the Isle, that's Scotland. That's the Isle of Skye. And these are the outer isles, with the Isle of Lewis up above and Harris down below. Okay. And the Uig Harris ferry runs from here. It's this orange line right here. Okay, right there. Okay. Now you've got other ferries. And this is how you get from the mainland, which is called on Ciamar, the Great Land. Even though Scotland's pretty small, to the people in the islands, it's the Great Land. It's almost a continent. Okay, but now one of the interesting things is, until just a few years ago, you could not catch a ferry, and it's the only way to travel between the mainland and the islands, except for excuse me, except for I don't know what you call them, scattered flights, on prop airplanes, little tiny airplanes that would fly, from an airport on here on the mainland over to the islands, that were pretty shaky and buffeted about by all the wind. just about the only way you could travel from the mainland to the islands was by ferry boat. And it was a ferry boat that would take cars as well as passengers who walked on or bicycled on. And an interesting feature is it would not run on Sunday. The islands remained heavily Presbyterian and very strict in their observance, and they didn't like any Sunday ferries. I mean, so or any doings whatsoever on Sunday. A few years ago, the ferry decided to start running on Sunday, and people went down to the docks. People from the islands went down to the docks and lay on the docks to protest and impede the traffic from the ferry, and stop the cars from offloading. So, as a matter of fact, several years ago, I was up here, right here. Well, if you can see my arrow right here, where this blue line comes in, and I wanted to get a ferry across to the Isles. And then I realized that it was Sunday and I couldn't. So I had to drive down and take a bridge across on the Isle of Skye and then drive up and take a ferry the next day. So anyway, and this is a road to the harbor at Uig, Isle of Skye. Okay. And that's the ferry. Okay. Okay, that's the ferry. All right. Anyway, so Myrit and Toramat meet. Okay, we have a short conversation, and I'll explain what's going on. But just listen to me first, and then I'll go over it. Okay, and then we'll go over it together. So Myrit said, "Hello, Ohoramach, Feskrama," which is "Hello, Norman, good afternoon." And Toramat says, "Hello, Myrit, Kimarahau." Myrit says, "Hamigama Tapalat, Kimarahau Hain." "I'm well, thank you. How are you yourself?" "Hamitrang Tapalat." "I'm busy, thank you." "Well, Cheerio Andrasta. Bye for now." Or cheerio. Okay. Okay. The Gaelic speakers have adopted that from English. They an English phrase out of England, cheerio. Okay. And Toramat says Martian lot, which is a way of saying bye or same with you, the same with you. Okay. All right. So that's a little conversation. So let's go over this. So follow after me. Hello, Ohoramach.
Hello, Ahoramach.
Hello, Ohoramach. Feskrama.
Vescama.
Okay. Feskrama. Okay. And Toramat says, "Hello, Avirich."
Hello.
Hello, Avarich.
Hello, Avirich. Kimarahau.
Kimarahahu.
Okay. And Myrit. Now explain why we have the difference in the names in just a moment. Myrit says, "Hamigama."
Hamigama.
Hamigama. Tapalat.
Tapalat.
Kimmer aha uhain.
Kimmer aha.
Kimmer aha uhain. And Toramat says, "Hamitrang."
Hamitrang.
Hamitrang.
Tapalat.
Tapalat.
And Myrit said, "Chiriandrasta."
Chiriandra.
Okay. And Toramat said, "Martian lot."
Martian.
Okay. Which is, as I said, bye or the same to you, something like that. Okay. You too. Okay. Something like that. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Veskrama is a way of saying good afternoon, or it could be good evening. Up in the northern part of Scotland, sometimes the evenings run till 10 or 11 o'clock. I mean, the afternoon runs till 10 or 11 o'clock. It's still light. And so there isn't a clear distinction between evening and afternoon always. Okay, so so you can say feskrama with a wide range of time in mind. And then here we have the phrase kimmer ahau, kimmer ahau, kimmer ahau. Okay, okay. And Myra says hamiguma,
Amiguma.
and she asks again kimmer ahau hain, kimmer ahau.
Kimmerahau. Hey.
And hain means yourself. How are you yourself? Okay. And it can be used in a lot of different uses. It could mean yourself. It could mean themselves, depending on, the context. It could mean, my own thing, myself, whatever it is. Okay. It's an emphasizer. Okay. And hami trang, that's one of the words that we'll use. Trang. All right. Okay. That's one of the words that we'll learn. Okay. So first, let's take a look at why we say a hormach or a virich. So Gaelic has a special case. Okay. And a case is in grammar, well, in English, we don't really make notice of case except the distinction between he and him, or she and her. Okay, so the he and she would be in what's called the accusative case, or the
Alexa, drop in on Christian's room.
What's that?
Okay, dropping in. Oh shoot, sorry.
What's this? Oh.
I think it was just a boo-boo. Denise Hashim says to everyone, open mic. So she was just
okay.
a little mistake.
Okay. Well, quite all right. Oh, and I see Denise's message from a few minutes ago, or 15 minutes ago, that Clàr means schedule. Yes. Okay. Yes, it does. And also Clàr would mean a recording. Okay. So, and again, we have a little bit of a difference between meanings in English and meanings in Gaelic. Anyway, so I was talking about the case. So in Gaelic, we have what's called a vocative case. That's when we're talking directly to somebody. And it doesn't change much, except it changes the name, how we say the name. Okay. And this case used to exist in English. And so in the Bible, we have, O ye of little faith. The O would indicate the vocative. We're talking directly to ye. Okay. The 19th century, in the 1800s, English author Rudyard Kipling said, "Oh, my best beloved." The O indicates the vocative case. We're talking to, or he is talking to, best beloved. And even the classic candy bar, "Oh, Henry." Okay, we're talking to Henry. "Oh, Henry." All right. So now in Gaelic, what happens is the first letter is lenited. And so here we have an introduction to a feature that is very much used in Gaelic, is lenition. The H is inserted after the first letter. So tormat becomes hormach. Oh, and the last syllable is slenderized by the insertion of an I. So, and here we can see how it changes the pronunciation. First, the lenition makes the T go away, in essence, and so it becomes hor, and the I smooths out slenderizes the last syllable, and mut becomes a much, hormach. And something similar happens to myrit, in which the H makes the M into a V. And so Myret becomes a virich. Okay. It changes the pronunciation of the word. Okay. And then also you notice the A in front of the name. Okay. Maybe I should have made that in red as well. The A, a hormach, a virich. Okay. This is part of the vocative that corresponds to the Old English O as above. Now, the A does not occur if the name begins with a vowel. So Alistair remains Alistair. Okay, so it's not Alistair, it's just Alistair. And if the last syllable is already slender, we can't add another I. And the slenderization means an I is added. And Mari is only partially changed to Avari. You see, because we already have I's at the end. Lenited, but not slenderized. Okay? Avari. Okay, and we'll get used to this more and more as we go forward, but just a quick explanation as to what's happening with the names. So Hormach is the name Tormat, but it's when we're talking directly to him and we're saying his name to him. And Avirich is Myret, but again, when we're talking directly to her. All right? All right. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Okay.
Sgeulachd,
Yeah.
can you make it bigger?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
More.
Maybe
Grammar. Thank you.
yeah.
Tapos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So now back to the rule of Alistair. Why isn't Alistair Alistair? Why is it Alistair? Okay. Because this is kind of a rule. I'm going to shrink it one more. Okay. Was this okay here?
More.
More. Okay. Okay.
More bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of running off the page.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Anyway, Gaelic doesn't like putting vowels together in different words. Think of it as the mother vowel telling her child, I don't want you hanging out with those other vowels. Okay. Now, vowels can be together inside a word, but very often, if they'll either be dropped or contracted if they're in different words, if they're at the end of one word and the beginning of another word. So that's why we just have Alistair. We don't have Alistair. Okay. And again, you can just think of that as a pronunciation rule too. It's just more difficult to say Alistair. In English, we would say that, but Gaelic doesn't like to say that. So Gaelic would just say Alistair. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So now the question and response. The question is, say this after me, Kimarahau. Kimarahau, how are you? And the response is Hamiguma. Hamiguma, I am well. Okay. Now, sometimes somebody will just say Haguma, they'll drop the me, because the I is implied. Okay. So, but this is essentially it. Hamiguma. Okay. Hamiguma. And the gu, this is the equivalent of I am well. Okay. Ma means good. And the gu kind of acts as as the ly in English. I think I put this down here. Yeah. Quick versus quickly. The gu is the equivalent of the ly. Intelligent versus intelligently. Right? Okay. I'll back up here. Okay. Okay. So as I said, Gaelic is a verb first language. English is a subject verb language. Okay, so in Gaelic we have ha, mi, guma.
Amigma.
B or M, I well. And I put B because it's not inflected. It's okay. But in English we would say M. Okay. All right. Okay. And I put this up above. Okay, so the verb in Gaelic doesn't change according to the person, whether it's first person, I'm talking, or I'm talking about you, you are, or he is. The verb stays the same. Ha, ha, ha. And this is the present tense for the verb to be. Okay. All right. Okay. And the last part of the exchange is tapalat, which means thank you. More like thanks with you. Okay. All right. Okay. Now. Okay. So now with that information, we're going to look at different ways in which we can respond. So tonight we're going to learn or get the tools to learn. Okay. And of course, this will be posted for you, so you can refer to it as flashcards. Okay. And I am going to shrink this a little bit. Okay. So we can get the whole thing here. Okay. So, okay. Ferkenen. Okay. So how else can we respond to Ciamar? How are you? So we have a few ways. Well, of course, there's multitude of ways, but we'll take a look at a few simple ways that we can respond. Okay, so, yep. Guma.
Guma.
Hami guma. Okay, guma. Okay, so and I put a little picture here to help spark our, our learning. Guma. Okay, or four. Four. Okay. Cold. Okay. Four. Okay. Or che.
Che.
Che. Okay. Okay. And note the pronunciation when I pronounce it. Che. We have a soft T. Okay. Che. Okay. And this guy is supposed to be hot. Okay. And this past week we've had both experiences of being cold and hot.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, all right. Or ski.
Ski.
Yeah, ski. Yeah, so so it's tired, right? And note the struck over the I. So we have a long I, ski. Yes, okay. So remember I was talking about last week how this can change the meaning. Okay? Or bronach. Bronach. Yeah, try to get that guttural in there, bronach. Okay, so part of your homework is to gargle every night when you brush your teeth. Okay, gargle. Get the ch sound. Okay, bronach. Okay, crosta. Cross or angry. Okay, crosta. Yeah, much like the English word cross, right? All right, okay. Or tolacha. Yeah, hami tolacha. Okay, happy. Okay. All right, okay. Or mianachma. Mianachma. Yeah, I get that ch in there. Mianachma. Okay. And right here, mian is a word for middle. Okay, so mianachma, well, we don't hear people say it much anymore in English, but you might have seen in a movie somebody say middling well, something like that. Okay, it's middling. Okay, in the middle. I'm so mianachma. All right, okay. Or trang. Okay, so here we have somebody inundated, buried in paperwork. He's trang. All right. Okay, so those are our words. Okay, so we have a duplicate there. Okay. I know. Okay. Flashcards. Okay, so Okay, so what's this?
Guma.
Guma.
Guma. Okay. Okay. What's this?
Voor.
Voor. Gleva. Okay. What's this?
Let me ski.
Ski.
Yeah. Okay. Or this?
Che.
Che. Okay. Or this?
Ronak.
Bronak.
Bronak.
Yeah. You know, many Gaelic songs begin with something like Habronak. Just Bronak Hahami. Okay. Okay. Or this?
Rosta.
Rosta.
Rosta. Okay. Okay. Or this?
Tolishta.
Tolicha.
Tolicha.
Tolicha. Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to have this. I mean, you know, and of course, of course, you should already have it, but I'll post it, and then you'll have it, so you can go over these and and as part of your homework, not only gargle, but go over these words, you know, as you go through the week. You know, thanks. Oh, hami krosta. Hami tolicha.
Tolicha.
Okay. Or right here.
Mienach.
Yeah.
Mienachma.
Mienachma. Mienach. Yeah. Remember the word for middle. Middle. Mienach.
Mienach.
Mienach. Okay. Right here. What's this fellow?
Trang.
Trang. Okay. Lepa. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So in this exercise, now we're going to have an exercise. Okay. And I'll be the partner, and everybody can respond. Okay. But I'll ask Ciamar Hau, okay, and we have a selection of answers: Guma, Ski, Bur, Che, Trang, Mienachma, Bronach, Tolicha, or Krosta. Okay, and then you'll respond with, say, Hami Krosta, Ciamar Hau Hain. Ciamar Hau Hain, okay? And you'll see I have a flashcard that'll prompt us, and this is what it'll look like. And now, Kestis Frekerst, question and answer, Ciamar Hau. All right, okay, so right here. All right, so go ahead and I'll say Ciamar Hau, and then you say
Ami Guma.
Ami Guma, and then you say
Tapalet.
Ciamar Hau
Ciamar Hau Hain.
Hain. Very good. Okay, so I'll do the first prompt, and then you follow up. Okay. All right. So right here, Ciamar Hau.
Hami
Ami Guma.
Fur.
Oh,
Ami
Ami
Fur.
Fur.
And
Tapalet Ciamar Hau
Ciamar
Hain.
Hau Hain.
Hau Hain. Very good. Okay. All right. All right. So Ciamar Hau.
Hami
Ami
Chef.
Che. Tapalet. Ciamar Hau Hain.
Tapalet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Ciamar Hau Hain. Very good. Okay. All right. So, and then Ciamar Hau.
Hami Ski. Tapalet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Tapalet. Ciamar Hau Hain.
Ciamar Hau Hain. Very good. Okay. Ciamar Hau.
Hami
Bronach.
Bronach. Tapalet Ciamar Hau
Bronach.
Hain.
Ciamar Hau Hain.
Tapalet. Okay. Ciamar Hau Hain. Very good. Okay. Ciamar Hau.
Hami Krosta. Tapalet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Tapalet. Ciamar Hau Hain.
Ciamar Hau Hain. Okay. Ciamar Hau.
Hami Tolichte. Tapalet Ciamar Hau
Ami
Hain.
Tolishta.
Hami Tolicha. Okay.
Tolishta.
Ciamar Hau.
Ami Mienachma.
Oh, Mienachma.
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 Tablet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Ciamar Hau Hain. Gleva. Okay. And Ciamar Hau.
Ami Trang.
Trang.
Train. Tapalet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Tablet Ciamar Hau Hain.
Yeah, very good, very good. And then remember that if this sounds a little bit rote, okay, remember that a lot of the things that we say in any language are kind of reflexive. You know, like, well, how you doing? Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, all right, okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the F always throws me off. I've been on Duolingo too, So can you explain the F, like this, the sound, or why the F appears, but it's not said, not pronounced?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So, can you see my whiteboard here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. So, F, little symbol for pronunciation, is pronounced like an F in English, except when it's lenited. And it's it's the thing that I was talking about the lenition.
Okay, so it applies to other, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
It makes the F sound go away. So it's pronounced Hain. Okay. Let's see. On A. Okay. Of the deer. Okay. Okay. So it makes the F sound go away. Okay.
So that's when it's directed like a question at someone, correct?
Not always.
Okay,
Not always. I mean, let's see. I'm trying to think of a name that would begin with an F. Well, we don't really have Frederick in Gaelic, but if we did, if we were talking to Frederick, we'd say a rhetoric. Okay, here to be lenited. Okay. The lenition also does a few other things. Well, here you see it changes a deer to of the deer. Okay. It also, and so you don't have to remember this. I'm just showing you a couple of different examples. It also changes the tense. Like in English, we have an ed at the end of a word. Walked, talked, like that, make a past tense. In Gaelic, for regular verbs, we lenite it. So let's see. So rekershed, answered. Okay, we will lenite it. Okay. Let's see. Koshik, walked, we'll lenite it. Okay, so this is several lessons down the road, but just to give you an example, that the lenition is pretty important, and it plays a part in many aspects of the language. Okay, but what we see here with Hain, Kimarahu Hain, is we see one example of the lenition and what it does to the sound. Okay, it makes the F disappear. All right.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I understand.
Labor. Okay. All right. Okay. So, here I have a little video for us of Mhaighdinn Mara, the Selkie. And this is a fun little folk tale from the Highlands of Scotland. And I found a video that explains it pretty well. So just sit back and enjoy. Let's see. So I got to, I'm going to have to stop the share. And then, let's see. So did I have another question? Yeah, Frank, like rank. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Frank would become rank. Okay.
Rank.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let me share again. And I want to share the sound. Okay. All right. So.
On a moonlit beach, waves gently lap at the shore.
Okay, so you can hear this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay.
A dark shape emerges from the water. At first, you think it's just a seal, but something seems different. The creature's form changes and the seal's skin falls away, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful woman. This isn't an ordinary seal, nor an ordinary person. Welcome to the mysteries of mythology, the Selkie. Imagine a creature that's both seal and human, slipping between sea and shore as easily as changing clothes. These are the Selkies, shapeshifters of Celtic lore that have captured imaginations for centuries. Born from the misty coasts of Scotland, Ireland, and Iceland, Selkie tales are most vivid in the Orkney and Shetland Islands. With rugged cliffs teeming with seals, the line between reality and myth blurs like a foggy day. The word Selkie comes from the Scottish Gaelic Seachdaine, meaning seal, and is deeply rooted in Celtic mythology. Similar legends can be found in Norse mythology. What sets Selkies apart from other mythical creatures is their dual nature. They inhabit a space between two worlds, the sea and the land, the animal and the human. This duality makes them objects of both fascination and fear in the communities where their legends have grown. In their seal form, they're nearly indistinguishable from ordinary seals, but a keen observer might notice an unusual intelligence in their eyes, hinting at the human soul within. The true magic unfolds when a Selkie sheds its sealskin on land. They are said to transform into people of breathtaking beauty, with women often described as having flowing dark hair and deep, soulful eyes, and men as irresistibly handsome and charming. Central to Selkie lore is the magical sealskin. Far more than a simple covering, it's the key to their transformative ability. Without it, a Selkie is trapped in human form, unable to return to its true home. This vulnerability is often exploited in tales where humans steal and hide a Selkie's skin, forcing them to remain on land. Selkies are often portrayed as gentle and somewhat melancholic in their human guise. They possess a deep, unbreakable connection to the sea that manifests in various ways. Many are said to be gifted singers, their voices carrying haunting melodies of their ocean home. Some tales attribute them to other magical abilities like calming storms or summoning seals. While not immortal, Selkies are believed to have lifespans measured in centuries rather than decades. They can form deep bonds with humans, even falling in love and having children. These Selkie children are said to bear subtle marks of their supernatural heritage, often in the form of webbed fingers and toes. However, the call of the sea is a constant presence in a Selkie's life. One kept from the ocean will pine for it, becoming increasingly unhappy and even sickly. If a land-bound Selkie ever recovers its seal skin, the pull of their true home is almost always too powerful to resist, even if it means leaving behind human loved ones. Their stories often serve as warnings, weaving themes of love, loss, and the folly of trying to tame our wild nature and our complex relationship with the sea, a provider that can instantly turn perilous. One of the most famous Selkie stories is the Fisherman's Tale. Our story begins on a remote island off the coast of Scotland, where a lonely fisherman lived. He was a quiet man, more comfortable with the company of the sea and his boat than with other people. Each day he cast his nets into the deep, mysterious waters. One misty morning, as the fisherman walked along the shore before his daily fishing, he heard a beautiful and sorrowful melody. Curious, he followed the sound to a hidden cove. There, on a rock bathed in early morning light, sat the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her long, dark hair cascaded down her back, and her eyes held the depths of the sea. Beside her lay what appeared to be a seal's skin. Realizing he was in the presence of a Selkie, he remembered his grandfather's tales, warning never to interfere with their lives. But overcome by the Selkie's beauty and his own loneliness, he made a fateful decision. While she was distracted by her song, the fisherman crept forward and snatched the sealskin, hiding it in his coat. When the Selkie realized her skin was gone, she wept bitterly. Feeling a mix of guilt and hope, the fisherman offered her comfort and his home. With no way to return to the sea, the Selkie reluctantly agreed to go with him, and they were married soon after. To all appearances, they lived happily. The Selkie was a dutiful wife, and in time she bore the fisherman 2 children. The family became known in the village for their strange beauty. The children had dark, liquid eyes, and it was whispered small webs between their fingers and toes. Despite the seeming domestic bliss, there was always a sadness about the Selkie. Often, the fisherman would find her staring out at the sea, singing mournful songs in a language he couldn't understand. Though she cared for him and loved their children deeply, it was clear that a part of her was missing, a part that longed for the freedom of the ocean. 7 years passed in this way. One day, while the fisherman was fishing, their curious young son played in the attic. He discovered an old chest, and inside it, a strange, sleek skin. Excited by his find, he brought it to his mother. The moment the Selkie laid eyes on her long-lost sealskin, a change came over her. The sadness that had clouded her eyes for 7 years lifted, replaced by a wild joy. She hugged her children tightly, tears streaming down her face, and whispered words of love and farewell. With her sealskin clutched to her chest, the Selkie ran to the shore. Returning from his day's fishing, the fisherman saw her just as she reached the water's edge. He called out to her, his voice filled with desperation and regret, but it was too late. The Selkie turned back once, her eyes meeting the fisherman's. In that moment, he saw both gratitude for the life and children they had shared, and the irresistible call of her true home. Then she donned her sealskin and dove into the waves, disappearing beneath the surface. It's said that on quiet nights, the fisherman and his children would sometimes see a lone seal near the shore, watching them with strangely intelligent eyes. And sometimes, carried on the wind, they would hear a haunting melody, a bitter-sweet song of love, loss, and the eternal call of the sea.
Hey, you going somewhere?
The Selkie myth has deep cultural connections to coastal communities, particularly in Scotland, Ireland, and other North Atlantic regions. These shape-shifting creatures are far more than simple folklore. They embody the complex relationship between humans and the sea that has defined life in these areas for centuries, as well as perhaps reflecting the relationship between people and the ocean. Many Selkie tales explore the tension between freedom and captivity. The common trope of a human stealing a Selkie's skin to keep them on land serves as a powerful metaphor for humanity's attempt to control nature, or perhaps even a person's true self. These stories often conclude with the Selkie reclaiming their freedom, reinforcing that the wild, creatures, or the natural world itself cannot truly be owned or constrained by human desires. Stories of Selkies forming deep bonds with humans only to eventually return to the sea reflect the bittersweet nature of love and the pain of inevitable partings. For coastal communities all too familiar with the sea's dangers, these tales may have served as a way to process grief, particularly for those lost to the waves. In a BBC podcast, Sharon Blakey, a psychologist, notes that the image of the lost skin in Selkie stories can symbolize various forms of personal loss or a profound sense of exile from one's true self. Selkie lore is rich with tales of captivity, freedom, and human-Selkie interactions. Here are a few notable stories. The Great Selkie of Sgeulachd is an Orkney ballad that flips the typical narrative by featuring a woman who bears a child to a male Selkie. He foretells their son's tragic fate, highlighting the often doomed nature of human Selkie relationships. Kopakonan, or the Seal Woman, is a folk tale from the Faroe Islands about a farmer who steals a Selkie's skin and forces her to become his wife. Years later, she reclaims her skin and returns to the sea, leaving behind a poignant message about her divided loyalties. The Selkie of Wasteness from Shetland offers a rare positive spin on human-Selkie interactions. A man befriends a Selkie woman without resorting to trickery or captivity. She, in turn, helps him save his sheep from a storm, suggesting the possibility of mutual respect between the two realms. Selkies have smoothly swum from ancient folklore into the currents of modern culture. In literature, these shapeshifters continue to enchant readers. Rosalie K. Fry's The Secret of Rowan Einish weaves Selkie lore into a tale of family and heritage. Scottish author George Mackay Brown frequently incorporated Selkie themes in his works, reflecting their enduring importance in Orcadian culture. Cinema has embraced Selkie mythology with films like Undine, starring Colin Farrell, offering a contemporary take on the Selkie myth set in Ireland. The animated film Song of the Sea beautifully incorporates Selkie lore into a touching story about family and loss, earning an Academy Award nomination. While Selkies are creatures of myth, the roots of these legends may lie in real-world observations. The geographical distribution of Selkie myths aligns closely with the habitats of grey and harbour seals along the North Atlantic coasts. Their behaviour, especially during breeding seasons when they spend more time ashore, could have inspired stories of creatures moving between sea and land. Seals possess remarkably expressive eyes and faces, often described as almost human-like, fueling imaginations about these animals harbouring a secret, more human nature. Though seals don't literally shed their skin, they do undergo an annual molt, which might have inspired the concept of Selkies shedding their seal forms. These creatures are far more than mere fantasy. They embody our complex relationship with the sea, its beauty, danger, mystery, and power. Selkie's tales touch on profound human experiences, the yearning for transformation, the delicate balance between freedom and belonging, and the bitter-sweet nature of love. They speak to the part of us that longs for magic, for mystery, for a deeper connection to the natural world. What do you think of the Selkie? Have you seen one, or do you think they're just an old wives' tale?
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. Where are we? Stop share. Okay, all right. All right. Any comments, any thoughts?
Well, I was thinking that maybe since seals are really fascinating for humans and somewhat human-like, and maybe the stories came from people who were really fascinated and admired the seals.
Yeah.
And so, you know, someone wanted to make a story at some time about how they admired the seals. So they made a beautiful woman, they made this, and so I think it just states about the condition people have about finding a connection with wild animals of some kind.
Yeah. Now, the thing to have to remember a couple things. One is these kinds of stories, these folk tales, these mythologies, arise out of the environment. You know, so in the outer isles and the coastal areas of Scotland, and as we saw, you know, other parts of Northern Europe, seals are in abundance, and so the sea is ever present. And so you, as you say, you'd have stories that would relate to, that would reflect these elements. One thing that I remark on is that this falls into what might be considered the Beauty and the Beast type of motif of story. You see, now one thing that's special about the Celtic telling is that the beast, is not a monster. It is not is not somebody or not a creature that's trapped into a bestial form and has to be reformed by turning it into a human. In these stories, the animal figure, the beast, is a sympathetic character and exists in their own right. And so the resolution of these stories always has something to do with humans and nature, human and non-human nature, the human world and the non-human world finding a way to coexist. And this is very much a part of Celtic and Gaelic, you might call it mythology, worldview. Okay, so these things are not in opposition. In the Beauty and the Beast stories, even not far away, in Europe, the beast is antagonistic, is frightening, is threatening. Okay, and has to be tamed and literally, as we've seen in the Beauty and the Beast story that we're familiar with, turned back into a human. In the Selkie stories, the human and the non-human find a way to coexist and help each other. Okay, so I find that very interesting. Okay, anyway, but this is a very prevalent theme in Gaelic folklore and Gaelic mythology. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, all right, well, let's go to our song. I'm going to share again. Okay, share sound, share. Okay, so and tonight we will have a Ciamar song. Okay, so as is appropriate for our lesson. Okay, so let's go with this. I don't know quite what this is doing. Is this? Where are we? Right, no, that's not it. Okay.
Living.
Okay.
Hello, Tanya, Miss McDonald.
Okay, so here we're gonna have a Ciamar song, and I'm gonna slow this down just a tad. And we'll encounter some of the words that we encountered in our lesson, in our flashcards. And of course, you'll have this, and you can go to this and learn the song to help you learn, how to ask how you are and to answer. Okay, all right.
Donald Shaw and do Hamidulhain Òran Yave Òran Mhaighdinn Mara.
And Òran is a song. Okay, so she's going to be singing a song. She's going to teach us an Òran, a song.
Arocking and do Hamidulhas can change the color them ik and time. Dearie. believe. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Canada, happy Fàilte, Canada, happy Fàilte, Canada, happy Fàilte, happy Fàilte, Cabalay, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli. Canada, happy Brona, Canada, happy Brona, Canada, happy Brona, Happalay, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli. Canada, happy Crofton, Canada, happy Crofton, Canada, happy Crofton, happy Crofton, Happalay, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli. Canada, happy ma, Canada, happy ma, Canada, happy ma, Happalay, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli, Silu, Allu, Silu, Alli. Thierry, Nathaniel, Miss Me.
Oh, okay, guys. Let's sing it one more time. Same speed. Sing along with her. All right. And then this will be a little what do they call it? A little fly in your ear for the next week. You can little an earworm. Was that what they call an earworm? Something that sticks in your ear and you just hear it as you go through your day. All right. Okay. So, all right. So let's.
McDonald and Shaw and do Hamidolhain Òran gave Òran Mhaighdinn Mara Fàilte and do Hamidolchas can change the color them ik and tay. Dearie. Cymru hael, camu brolo, Cymru hael, camu brolo, Cymru hael, camu brolo, tapalei, sylw Cymru hael, camu crosta, Cymru hael, camu crosta, Cymru hael, camu crosta, tapalei, sylw Cymru hael, hagyrma, Cymru hael, hagyrma, Cymru hael, hagyrma, tapalei, sylw Cheery.
Okay. There we go. Stop the share. Okay, there we go. Okay, so cheery. Okay. Oh,
Jerry,
Yeah.
goodbye.
Jerry.
cheery. Jane is also learning Irish Gaelic.
Oh, wow.
Goes off to her Irish class. The Irish Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic are very similar. Okay. And there's a and as a matter of fact, the teacher of the Irish class sometimes sits in on my intermediate class, and so it's very interesting to talk to him as he's learning Gaelic, and I occasionally ask him, well, how do you say this in Irish, or is this the same as in Irish? Yeah. So anyway, all right. So, any questions? Any questions? Okay. All right. So I will. So you have the link for the chapter. I will as soon as the Zoom processes the recording, I will pop the link in, and I showed you where that is, right? That'll be under chapter 2, text document. Okay, that has the link for the and I'll upload the Zoom recording to YouTube, and the link to the YouTube recording or the YouTube file will be in the text document under chapter 2. And if you have any questions or any difficulties finding it, feel free to send me an email. Okay, and then remember, what I'd like you to be doing for this week is 1, gargling. Okay, try to get that sound, and then 2, go over your vocabulary for how to respond to Cimara Hau. Okay, and you can go back to the song. The link is in the chapter, and you can just sing the song. Okay, as you go through your week. All right. Okay. So, well, if that's it, then I'll say Aichava, which means good night. Aichava. Okay.
Aikiva.
Akava,
Aikiva.
Akava, Tapala.
Tapalei.
Akava.
Aichava.